So don't leave me, baby. Don't leave me, baby. And the town got better, oh, and the time.
Yes, yes. You are tuned in to Bridge City Radio. I'm your host, Victor Bustillos.
And I'm Frank Contreras, also known as the DJ Tricks.
Yes. And today we have back in the studio
Come on now.
Drew Milling, also known as DruToons, Drew Collage.
What up, y'all?
Welcome back.
Goes way back though to Payday,
There you go.
Pay Daddy.
He actually was an MC back in the day, back early 2000s. Remember all that music we were doing? Still in the archives. We're gonna have to bring it out one day, but
Maybe one day.
we got something real special tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna have this is Record Talk. You tuned in to Record Talk on Bridge City Radio. We've been honored and blessed with Drew's presence tonight. We've had him in the studio not long ago, where he played a lovely, sweet soul set, and
Yes.
I think we're ready to just get into some Q&A with Drew, get to know a little bit about Drew and his lifestyle.
That's
Let-
right.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm
And
an
if
open
you
book.
haven't-
I love to talk. So
Yeah, we all love talking. If you haven't seen the show, make sure you check back on YouTube, our YouTube channel, our podcast, and check him out when he's spinning those nice 7-inch soul records.
Right, that's right, man. So Drew, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, man? Where were you born at?
Lomita, California,
Lomita, California.
Yes.
Man. What year?
1975.
All right, man. Good
Yeah.
year, man. The 70s, man. And living in Lomita, you lived there all your life, or did you ever live in other cities? Or?
We moved away for a few years, about fourth grade. We moved out to the high desert. There was a lot of job opportunities out for my step pops, so we made the transition out there. I think that was like 86, maybe 80, yeah, about 1986.
Where exactly at in the high desert?
Apple Valley,
Apple
Wow.
Valley.
yeah,
Okay.
the boonies.
Right. How'd you like the weather out there?
It's hot and cold, summer heat and winter blues,
So you got any friends
I got
out
used to
there
it.
you still are in contact with, or?
Nah, like somebody on Facebook, some girl hit me up and was like, "Hey, is this Drew from Apple Valley Junior High?" And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "It's me." But that's about it.
Yeah, see, that's a good thing though about social media. It could be good and bad, I guess.
Mm.
The more people finding you, the more girlfriends, the more friends,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you gotta watch yourself with that. But that's a good thing about social media. There's always like I got all these friends, right?
Mhm.
And we have barbecues or parties, about 20 or 30 of us, and there's always one guy that's not on Facebook. And then every time I run to that guy, I go, "So you're that one guy that's not on Facebook, man. Everyone else here's on Facebook. Why don't you come and join us?" And they're like, "Oh, no, the heck no, I'm not going on
Well, I
Facebook."
was like that too, man. I never wanted anything to do with social media, man.
For reals, yeah.
You know what it was? A good buddy of ours, a mutual friend of ours, Arturo. Big up to Arturo, man. He actually told me, because I used to sell a lot of my records online to try to make money, and he actually was the one that said, "Man, you should use Facebook as a platform for
Right.
reaching other record collectors and promoting your eBay sales."
Right,
And I was like, I don't
You
want to
didn't
be
wanna
on
do
social
it.
media.
You didn't want to do it, yeah. So you were that guy.
Yeah, but and there you go. You fall right into it, and here
Yeah.
I am, chismoso, looking at everybody
Everybody.
else's.
Looking at people you haven't seen from the third or fourth grade, right?
Exactly, man. So Drew, where did it all start for you, man, with music?
Oh man, I mean, my parents, they had me pretty young, so they were definitely partying. And I remember like my earliest memories is going to people's houses and they had records. And so I'm talking like I have a very good memory. So even from early, like 4 years old, I remember seeing for sure a Sex Pistols record.
Nice.
The Nevermind the Bullocks, the pink.
Wow.
I remember that, but I didn't know what that meant at all. But I just remembered that lettering.
Nice.
So yeah, definitely early on, and then later, like maybe 6 years old, 7, um, at my grandmother's house, my older cousins, they were really into like the K rock music
Okay.
of the time, like the early, like 1980, 81. So my first experience with vinyl and records were them playing. Like my cousins, they weren't like rude boys, but they were
Mhm.
definitely into like maybe the common ska stuff,
Wow.
the
Two tone and stuff
specials
like that.
and
Yeah. Two
Busters,
tone ska.
The specials. Wow.
Madness, that kind of stuff.
Oh
So
yeah.
early on, Message to You, Rudy, that was always in my
Yes.
head
Oh man.
early on,
Great stuff.
and Devo, Whip It,
Oh, I love
Oh
and
Devo,
yeah,
man.
definitely.
Go Go's, Oingo Boingo,
Yeah.
all the K Rock, Rodney on the Rock stuff. It
So
was definitely, you know,
this
in
is-
me early on.
yeah, yeah. So what would be one of the first genres that stuck with you that you personally liked? That you said, man, this is something I like that not necessarily maybe your parents or your family enjoyed.
For me, it was probably a lot of the like the Smiths records, the Cure,
Okay. Morrissey.
the UK stuff,
Nice.
and that's like probably 86, 87 now. Jumping forward, we didn't have a lot of money, but my uncle would certain times would just he'd call it Hollywood money and be like, hey, I got some Hollywood money for you. Let's go to Music Plus or the Warehouse, and he blessed me with like $10 so I could
Nice.
get a cassette. So my very first cassette was I think it was Susie and the Banshees.
Oh yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, that kind of I thought she was beautiful. I
Oh
thought
yeah,
she was
most
like
definitely. Yeah.
you know
Yes.
You're bringing back
you could
memories.
say I had a crush on her. She was one of my early crushes for sure.
So were you buying cassettes or
Well,
records or what was it at that
oh
time?
well, my first 45 I ever bought was Prince Raspberry Beret.
Oh
Yes.
And
yes, okay.
the drawing with the
The
girl.
picture
I always
cover.
thought that should have been a scratch a sniff, like the
It
Raspberry
was like a
Beret
blue
part. Like
record with flowers or
yeah, she's like posing. I forget who the artist is. I should know, but yeah, that I was the hugest Prince fan, like obsessed. Like
Yeah.
I did school to go watch Under the Cherry Moon. I
Wow.
was really, really heavily into Prince. I copied his moves. I can quote Purple Rain, the whole movie. Like
wow.
Wow.
I know every scene.
Heavy.
I call myself Christopher. You know what I mean? 'Cause, like I was really, really, really into Prince. I had
So
the
you
big
know Apollonia
poster.
was from Wilmington, right?
Yeah, is that right? No,
Yeah.
I don't want to front act. Yeah, she was right. No,
Yeah.
I really didn't know that.
I can't remember her real name, but she grew up around the harbor too. So just ringing a bell
Really?
with Purple Rain.
Wow.
I had a friend, Jonathan Batchelor, and he was a heavy Prince record collector. And he used to go out to Venice Beach, a record shop. I don't remember the name of it, but he come back with the Black Album. I don't know if you know what the Black Album is by
Oh yeah, that's like
Prince, and then the White
yeah,
Album. And he has so many albums. He loved Under the Cherry Moon too. It was a black and white movie, right?
yeah.
He
They
was all in love with that stuff. He had a stack of all that high of all these Prince records I never even heard of.
Wow.
they got. I still learn new things about Prince. I was in the record shop maybe about a year ago, and this Prince collector was like, hey, what do you know about this one right here? And it was a maxi single, and the song was La 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 He, and
Oh.
he goes, it's like a 10-minute song B side. And he was like, oh, this song's Sheena Easton and Prince were having a conversation. He's like, you got to write some songs. She goes, oh, if I was to do that, it'd be like La La He, and so he like ended up writing a song about it.
Oh,
Or-
okay.
he
All
stole
right.
he stole her title.
Yeah, that's fine, man. So is it safe
But-
to say that Prince was probably one of your biggest inspirations early on?
Oh, for sure. I used to walk down the street like him. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
So-
I had like even the sexy like posters on my wall.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So the
you know.
battle between Michael Jackson and Prince wins.
In my book it does. Like
Okay.
Desert Island record, it's gonna be Purple Rain.
Okay. I think they came out around the same time, Thriller and Purple Rain, right? Or was it 1999? There's two albums that came out around the same time in 1985 for Christmas. Some kids got the Prince one, and other ones wanted the Michael Jackson one. There's a
Right,
story
right.
about that. That which one did you like better, Michael or Prince? There was a battle going on, and did you ever see that video where James Brown invites Prince up or Michael Jackson up? Michael Jackson dances all crazy.
Really?
Then Prince goes up and he wants a guitar and he tries to do something on the guitar and he ends up hitting a totem pole and it falls. Or
No.
he kind of embarrassed Prince a little bit. Prince got all mad about that.
Oh, I gotta see that, man. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on
we have to
YouTube.
check
Yeah,
that out.
I saw some of the footage, yes. Definitely.
Oh man. So at the moment, what's a genre that really captures and has a hold on your heart right now?
Well, I mean, definitely right now, I'm really digging the lowrider vibes right now, the sweet soul scene, and that kind of music is really hitting me hard. Like
So,
definitely,
so
definitely hit me.
what exactly, to you, in your opinion, would be considered sweet soul? I mean, for me, I have an opinion of what it is, but a lot of people, soul, just like any other genre of music, has so many subgenres. You got popcorn soul, you got R&B, you know what I mean, you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
northern
northern,
soul,
yeah,
sweet soul.
yeah.
um but just in your own words, what would you consider it to be? Because when I think about it, there's not one uh wrong answer for what it can be, if that's
Right.
what you feel it is. So it's not a test question. Just I'm
Yeah,
curious to know how
yeah.
you
I
feel
mean,
about it.
I have a hard time defining things, but I would just call it like just what it is, a sweet, this the sweetness to it,
Mm,
I don't mean sugary, but just this lovely, lovely, lovely,
yeah.
lovely sound. It just kind of hits you in the right places, It's I mean, you can I don't know what do you call it a ballad? Is it a love song?
Hmm.
But they're not all love songs. Sometimes they're heartbreak songs. Sometimes they're, I want to get back at you songs or I want to get back with you kind of songs.
Yes.
There's
So
there's no like
so let
one.
me ask you a question now, because some of us don't really know what you're talking about. So what would be a group or a song for someone out there who's never heard Sweet Soul? There's one group or one song you can hit us with, just so we can look it up and see exactly where you're coming from.
I mean, as far as like a common song would be,
Yeah,
or
that's
just
fine. Yeah,
like
common, or yeah, just
definitely like
something.
like a group like the Notations is definitely
Oh
the
Oh,
yes,
okay.
epitome of Sweet
yes.
Soul. That's like
Notations.
the
I'm still here.
I'm still here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
great
popular one.
song. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah, that would
still a
be
great song.
definitely like
Okay.
classic.
Okay. Now we're I could kind of paint a picture of what you're talking about when you say Sweet Soul now.
Right, right. Because there's I don't even know if there's subgenres of sweet soul, but there might be. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
Or
When I think of sweet soul, I automatically think of the lowrider scene, the Chicano,
right.
Pendleton,
Yes.
you know, just that urban feel of music, that is definitely, like you said, has a lot of love behind it, has a lot of emotion, guts, belting of lyrics. It's just amazing music, and it is sweet. It really is.
And heavy.
Yeah, gosh, I
Right.
love the heavy
Two
stuff,
scoops of
man.
sugar.
Well,
Yeah,
good,
something you
man.
can cruise with your lady. Put your arm around her. That kind of music that you could just kind of slow, slow. You don't want the sun to set. You, well, maybe do you want those stars to come out? Who knows?
Yeah. Again, we got Drew Millen in the house, and we're
That's
talking
right.
about Sweet Soul here on Bridge uh,
Bridge City
City
Radio, baby.
Radio.
That's right.
That's
Bridge,
right. Come on now.
That's right.
big up, Bridge City Radio.
So, Drew, at the moment, is there someone in particular in the scene, uh, let's say Sweet Soul, um, that you really have a lot of respect for?
You mean like collector wise
Um,
or just
just whether it's an artist or a collector, or just a DJ. It doesn't really matter.
I,
It's an open question.
musically? I love what these new kids are doing. I love Duran Jones, the Indications. I love Kelly Finnegan. I love all the new artists that are kind of bringing this back.
Yes, yes,
A lot of those guys are just killing it.
yeah, I
Bobby
agree.
Rosa.
I agree.
You
It's a
know,
blessing to see that revival.
yeah,
Um, how
yeah,
about, so that would be for artists. How about for some of the DJ slash collectors that are in, we're at a South Bay Harbor area, and
right.
Los Angeles is a huge district for disc jockeys and collectors, and is there
Right.
any names that have inspired you
Oh,
to do what you do?
I mean, definitely. Like, if I had to choose one person, and she knows who she is too. You know what I mean? Um, I I I, I gotta say it's gonna be Soletta 5150. She's
Yes.
the one that definitely put me on. probably 80% of what's in my box is from her YouTube channel. I'm not gonna front, you know what I mean?
She's
She-
very heavy. I'm
you know?
familiar, very familiar with who she is, man. For those of you who don't know who Solera 5150 is, you know, you should check her out on Instagram. She has a wicked YouTube page, you know, and she does play some of that heavy stuff, man. I do agree. Big up to all the Southern Soul Spinners, original and after. You know, there's so many good artists that came out of the Southern Soul Spinners, man. I have to say that I'm
Yeah.
inspired by all of them.
Definitely big up to each and every one of them
Yes,
for putting it
exactly.
down and
You know,
paving the way.
And it's more than just the trio that's running it now. You know, they were a pretty large handful of collectors. There was probably 6 or 7 of them, I believe. So, but yeah, that's good, man. It's good to have people to look up to. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah,
we
definitely.
all have them. You know,
Oh,
whether
for
we want to
sure, for
admit it
sure.
or not.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I told her right away, I go, I'm your fan. She's like, nah, you're my friend. And I was like, okay.
That's right.
All right,
You
let
man.
me ask you a
so-
question now, because now me being you know, a music lover, record collector
course.
from 70s, 80s, 90s. So so nowadays, is it more like you guys have someone do the research for you, and then they find the stuff, and then you just go online and buy it, or are you out there digging and trying to find them yourselves?
Mm.
As far as records,
You know, I kind of, I'm not gonna front. You know, I gave up on record stores maybe about a year ago. There's just nothing in those bins that I'm looking for. You know, and unless they got the special box behind the back, something like
Yeah.
that, then you know,
secret box that they want 100, 200 for each
I mean,
one, right?
And they do. But I always come up short. You know, I just don't see anything that I'm interested in, and I'm not trying to be, you know, snobby, or I might be coming off kind of picky, but it's just the sound that I'm looking for. It is not more often than not. I'm not going to find it there. But you do get lucky.
Totally
And
understand. Yeah.
I'm not, no disrespect to record stores. I think they're a beautiful place to be. They've been therapeutic for me. I love hanging at record stores. Don't get me wrong. But as far as coming up on records, it's gonna be online. I'm sorry, that's just the
Right.
way it is, you know. And you
Yeah.
will get lucky, you know. The record shows are cool.
Right,
Yes.
right.
You
Yes,
can
I
find good
agree.
stuff there for
Yeah.
good deals,
I agree.
Mhm.
you know. Yeah.
So, are there other genres that you're into right now?
Yeah, you know, I do my best to stay current.
Okay.
This whole, you know, soul scene has definitely got me so active where it's kind of I get distracted and then I forget
Yes.
about other forms of beautiful music.
I see you got the needle on something there,
Oh,
but
yeah.
doesn't look like a soul record to
No,
me.
well, you know, there might be a little hint of soul in this one. I'm sure there's, you know, something you could vibe out to. You want to check it out?
Yeah, man. What is
Alright.
that?
That's it's a group out of the UK. They're called the Sea Urchins.
Okay.
It's a
Mm.
really cool guitar, jangly, dreamy kind of vibe to what they're doing. You know,
The
They're-
sea
they're-
urchins.
they're-
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
man.
bit shambolic, but there's beauty in it for sure. Yeah.
Now
and it-
run that, man. Let's see
Yeah,
let's see
let's
what
do
you
that.
got, man.
Don't cry, not now. Now I'm here to tell.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
Now it'll be alright.
Little 45 action.
You know,
It happens to all of us.
the bigger the record, the more confusion for me these days.
We go ahead and start it over if you want.
It,
It's hot.
it's not bad, right?
I like that, man. I love that guitar, man.
Yeah, super cool.
Hmm. So what year is this, Drew? Is this some earlier stuff? It doesn't sound very old, man.
Yeah, I want to say that might be like one of their later records. Maybe like 88, 89.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Is-
guess that'd be considered a later Sea Urchins
You have
record.
a picture of that album cover that we can show
Oh yeah, it's right
our
here.
artist here, our guest here.
Yeah, right
Sea urchins, man. Yeah, that's interesting, man. It looks trippy. It looks more of a '60s vibe to it, man.
Most
there. Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, definitely, definitely. There's a lot of '80s bands that have the '60s vibe. I don't know if there's a revival going on or what, but there's quite a bit of '80s artists that are doing some '60s
Nice, man.
psychedelic moods.
So let me ask you, how exactly did you come across this type of music? Because this ain't something you're gonna hear on the radio, right?
Right, maybe late at night on KCRW, or maybe you'd find it on KXLU.
Okay. And they're from, you said they're England, Europe,
I believe Scotland. Yeah,
Scotland. Okay.
probably getting that wrong, but
The sea urchins. Okay.
Hmm.
yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. I mean, I could.
So is that a 12-inch? It looked like an album. The cover there. you're
Yeah, it's
showing.
like a maxi single kind of deal.
Okay.
There's like 2 songs on each side.
So how would someone be able to find that?
Most likely Discogs would be available. There's definitely, I'm sure, a YouTube sound clip.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
They-
they got more than one album then.
Yeah, I believe they have maybe 2 full LPs and maybe a live album, something like that.
Okay.
A couple singles.
Definitely have to look them up.
Yeah, I love them.
So, if there was a single night out that has been memorable for you as a DJ, uh, what night would that be?
Uh,
Where you were actually playing for a crowd and you just felt like
Oh,
You
as the DJ.
you are the DJ. You are providing the tunes for the night, and this night was just a great night for you, and you felt like, man, this was real perfect night, man.
oh man, well, I haven't had the opportunity to play a whole bunch of shows or gigs or events or scene. I'm not really heavy on the scene, but without a doubt, it'd have to be the Nights In over there at the beginning of last year. Yeah, that night kind of changed everything for me, and doing what I do now. Um, it was a special night. Like it was really, 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 really beautiful night.
What made it special for you?
I think just the appreciation of everybody out in the crowd and my close friends and family showing up, and it was actually like, hey, what, you made it? You know how you invite people and they're like, yeah, I'll be there, but they won't be there.
Oh yeah.
So it was nice to see everybody.
Where exactly is this now?
Nights In is like a kind of like a hotel bar,
Yes.
Pico Rivera,
Okay.
kind of like a trucker stop.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was I believe put on by Back in 39 on Instagram, which who goes by Larry Carlin. Big up Larry, um, another guy that is got a beautiful record collection. We'll have to get him in here soon and listen to some of his tunes. Um, you know, DJing a lot of times. There's certain times where we'll be out there DJing and we'll have a hiccup. Maybe like for example, I noticed we started the record off on 33 speed, but it was actually 45. What was one of the most embarrassing times that you may have had while you're out DJing and in front of the crowd, and you're like, oh crap.
Oh man.
I just did that in front of everybody.
Right.
Whether it was falling off the stage
Let us know.
or can you think of anything that
Gosh, I think that happens every single time I play.
Hey, at least you're honest, right?
Um,
anyone particular stands out, even if it's not the most embarrassing?
I was spinning for my friend Ben at his art show. He does really beautiful street art and calligraphy style, and it's a small little spot, And I remember the turntable was just not going,
Mm.
and I was like, huh, what, and I just turned the power off. I just accidentally hit the power off on it, but I just freaked and panicked and like what it what oh you know. So little things like that or big things like that, depending on how you look at it. But
S-
I know nobody was paying attention.
so you bring up a good point now. So when you're out there DJing, you're bringing actually vinyl records. You're not using computers like most people are doing. You're not pushing buttons. So you're actually using real records.
Right, right, yeah. I'm not really well versed in computers and especially DJing using them Serato and I don't know what they use now, but yeah, it's all vinyl.
Yeah, that's good. That's interesting because a lot nowadays, a lot of these younger guys, when they're gonna go out to DJ, they get a haircut, they get expensive cologne, and they show up ready to DJ. Opposed to like a DJ showing up with records, the real way when the
Yeah,
way it was when
how
I
we
was
used to
growing
do it.
up.
Yeah.
You had to go do the research, you had to have the records, you had to spend the money to make you a great DJ, opposed to just showing up with a laptop that eventually would probably not even work, or you have the same playlist every other DJ had. So I mean, you're entitled to make mistakes. When you're playing actual records, I would assume, right?
Yeah, I would say so
So I
too.
mean, it's all good, right?
I definitely would say
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
I've seen people I look up to make mistakes, so I figure, hey, if they can do it, I can do it.
And we're all
If they can
human.
slip, I can slip.
We're all human. Yeah. You know what I noticed too? You were playing 45s on our last show,
Right.
and do you prefer the 45s over 12 inches or LPs? I know that they're a lot lighter to carry, and it gets straight to the point because you get to play that song particularly, as opposed to Frank, how you said how we used to do it, where
Yeah.
we're making multiple trips
Yeah.
back and forth to the car to get a
Carrying
crate
crates
and a
and
crate and a
crates,
crate.
yeah, breaking your back doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So is there do you have a preference?
Well,
Preferably
definitely,
45s
just
over?
exactly just what you said. Just they're lighter to carry, easier to carry. Just that one song you love so much on it. You don't have to go looking for that song. It's just right there in front of you.
But you
So,
aren't limited to 45s, correct? In your collection.
oh no, no, I have thousands of LPs. I have way more LPs than I do 45s.
Okay.
I mean, yeah,
Right.
all genres.
Did you know that actually a 7-inch record has better sound quality than a CD or a WAV file or an LP?
Is that because of the thickness of the cut of
Has
the
some
grooves?
has
Or?
something to do with that, and also the speed of the record playing.
Mm.
So
Right,
you could
right.
actually look it up online. A 7-inch record actually has the best sound quality out of all different types of what's the word I'm looking for?
Formats.
Platforms
Or
and
platforms of
formats
vinyl.
of actual music, not even just vinyl, but music. Obviously, there's a lot of private press that might not sound good,
Mhm.
but a basic popular song most likely is going to sound better on 7-inch record than it would on the album or it would on CD. So
Wow.
that's interesting to me because it seemed like to me those little records get damaged easy too. So
Yes.
how are you taking care of these records? What are you doing to make sure you're not damaging them or even getting them stolen when you're out there?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that's always. I am definitely like real picky about condition, and one little scuff or scratch, it just ruins my day. So I'm really picky, definitely about the
So how are
condition
you
of the
cleaning
vinyl.
them? How are you cleaning your records?
Uh,
What's the secret?
I mean, they're pretty. I make sure when I do buy them that they're definitely like VG plus plus or better. So they're gonna be pretty clean to begin with.
So if you said VG plus plus, what does that mean? Very
It's just
good or
yeah, it's kind of like a little yeah, it's just like a step lower than near mint, I guess.
okay?
Some call it excellent.
So no sounds unless you're making the sounds along your trips and playing them,
It's a beautiful record,
right?
definitely. Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's what I shoot for.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean when I say about how 7-inch records sound better than a CD. Obviously, a real nice, clean copy would sound. The sound quality is
Yeah,
amazing,
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
As far as the low end, you could hear all the instruments. Obviously, you have to have a good sound system. Now I see Target selling turntables and decks, and they're like was it Crosley or Crosby? That
Yes.
if you're out there buying those, don't buy those for your kids or yourself. Make sure you get a real turntable, a nice amplifier with some nice good speakers, because then you're gonna get the sound. I had a guy recently hit me up on Facebook saying, "Hey, where can I get records at? I bought my daughter a turntable," and I go, "Well, what kind of turntables you get her?" "Oh, the ones from Target."
Mhm.
So if you're listening to records with those type of turntables, then you're not gonna hear what we're talking about. you're gonna have to have a really nice
Yes,
setup.
yes, and not to bash those because they are great for a economical starter or beginner.
Starter.
But yeah, obviously, for example, Drew, I know personally that there's a couple 45s that you played on our last show. There are well over $200-300 per 45.
Yeah.
Right,
So obviously, common sense says you do not want to drop a 7-inch record on a Crosley that's got that value. There's a big difference in needles.
Yeah, thanks
But
for sharing that.
but I think you're absolutely right, and you bring up a good point, Frank, about it's all in the level of your interest in vinyl. If your kid shows interest and you know that he's just gonna do or she's just gonna
Yeah,
be a DJ or she's gonna really go somewhere,
right.
spend the extra $100 and get
Yeah,
yourself a good turntable.
yeah.
But if you're just kind of testing the waters with them, yeah, those Crosleys I think are okay.
Hmm.
It's a touchy subject. It's kind of like the Serato vinyl thing, because
Yeah,
you got the digital DJ, which I have nothing against. I would
yeah,
personally not do that just because
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
um I'm stuck in my ways. I was
yeah,
raised in the vinyl scene with
yeah.
hip hop, and that just won't change for me. But hey, I do get jealous sometimes. I wish that I can carry every song in my library on a gig stick and just pop it in my turntable. You know?
Yeah, well, see, I'm the guy that will use Serato. I don't mind because I don't want to damage a lot of my records. So
Yes.
so if this is the right time and the right place for Serato, but I would rather prefer using records because it's
Yes.
something about the depth and the speed of me being able to mix, scratch, or whatever it is I'm doing, DJ and change the songs faster. I don't like to be stuck looking at a computer screen.
Yeah.
I could do it quicker with an actual
Yeah.
record, and the feel of it, the sound of it. Seems like when I download all these songs off of YouTube or whatever, if I'm buying them on iTunes, they don't sound the same as a record.
Yeah.
And they say they feel real hollow. And when you're DJing a wedding or something, you want to have a real
Warm,
warm,
heavy.
thick sounding record.
Yes.
There's even times I'll get the record recorded into a WAV file and then play that because I'm not going to trust playing Monster Mash at a Halloween party off of YouTube download. It ain't going to sound the same.
Which is a great song, by the way.
yeah. There's a Christmas one too.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, similar style. But yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Oh man,
yeah.
we gotta look
I
up
can't.
that, man.
Yeah, can't think of the artist or the name of the song, but
S-
it's
so you got a nice marbled green record on the deck right now, and
yeah.
it just has an eyeball with a spindle poking through the center of it. So I'm really curious to know what this is here that you.
Yeah, this is like one of my favorite all-time groups. They're called Shannon the Clams. They're from I want to say Oakland, Frisco area up north, and they're just great musicians, great vocals. She's beautiful. I had the pleasure of seeing them in Wilmington, of all places.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
Are
right
the,
before they kind of got a little bit known. They did this like warehouse show, and
are they a local band or?
they're I want to say they're Oakland.
Okay,
I want to say they're from
yeah,
Oakland,
that's right. You did say
but
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They just were doing like house shows and backyard boogies
Wow.
kind of things. Yeah, their vibe is really cool. It's familiar but different, you know. Yeah,
Well,
you want to get a
yeah,
little
let's check that
get a little
out,
taste
man.
of that?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Definitely.
Drop that one on.
I hope so.
a little deeper, a little heavier than the last tune you played. A little darker.
It's kind of a sad song, but I feel good. Sad song.
Been speeding since the day we met. Grip leather gloves point toward the sun. Always escaping from the dawn. But then love was real. Though I swear I can feel.
I like it. I like the plucking on that guitar, man.
Yeah.
It's like I was trying to. I was like, is that a guitar or what is that? So much effects on that,
Super hot.
It's very ambient, that's for sure, man.
So how someone like you discover this music, or someone like me actually? How do you come across stuff like this? Is it only on vinyl?
I'm sure they're on all formats. Me, I was just looking up, like, I can't remember album reviews. I think I was looking up like Best Coast, and she's another artist, and someone said, made not a comparison, but something along the lines like I'd much rather listen to Shannon and the Clams than Best Coast, and I was like, I gotta hear this, because I love Best Coast. I mean, her early records.
You got an album cover for that one?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. Yeah, it has that 70s vibe, huh? Shannon and the Clams. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Gone by the Dawn. So if you guys want to look that up, make sure you do. Shannon and the Clams.
Let me see that cover again, Drew.
Oh yeah, you want me to hold it up or?
Yeah, man. It's almost got a Alice in the Wonderland vibe to it,
Yes.
man. Another 60s vibe to it, man. A lot of these people are real psychedelic style,
Yeah, they definitely have, definitely they're heavily influenced, but also have their like own sound.
It says limited colored vinyl. So let me ask you, what does an album like that go for?
A lot of these ones that come out on color, I was pre-ordering them just on the website. But $16.99 maybe.
Oh, not
Something
bad.
like that.
Okay, not bad.
Plus shipping, so $20.
Yes, that's fair.
Yeah, something like that.
So would this be something that you'd find like at urban what is this, Urban Outfitters selling records or places like that, the mall?
Possibly. I mean,
Okay.
I don't know what level of popularity they are.
I was gonna say it seems
know?
kind of eclectic to me just by looking at it.
I mean-
I've never even heard or seen of them, but yeah, that's definitely a nice tune, man.
Yeah, they're great.
If you can be stuck in 1 year of music, okay, for the rest of your life, eternally stuck in this year's music,
Good question.
Wow.
what year would that be?
Wow. How does someone answer that? I don't know. Like, it depends on the genre of music, I guess. I don't
Well-
know.
Well, it would have to be across the board. I mean, you would be able to listen to anything in that year.
I would. I don't know. Like, 1977 had a lot of great records, all across the board. Maybe that year.
77, huh?
I think so.
Okay.
A lot of great influential records came out that year.
What about you, Frank? You got a year that you'd be stuck in, man?
Most definitely. So are we limited to just music that came out that year,
No.
or that style
No,
forevermore?
No, it's that year. You're not limited to genre, but
Okay.
you are limited to that year. So you're basically groundhog daying a year,
Yeah.
and you can only listen to the music that
Hmm.
came out in that year.
So for me it'd be 1986.
86, huh?
Yeah.
Because I assume hip hop had a big
Yeah,
reason to do
yeah.
that.
It would be the impact it had on my life, with the culture, just the direction my life was going at the time. I've always had a mom and a dad, but for some reason, some of these songs I was listening to growing up were speaking to me.
Wow.
Like
okay.
that was who was raising me, was some of these artists that I grew up listening to, and there was a lot of other music out at that time too, but it was particular hip hop music at that moment in 1986.
Yeah, that's a good year, man. Oh, I think the year that I would pick, and it is a hard question, it really is, but
Definitely.
I think the year that I would pick would be way before I was born. It's just,
I totally understand.
it's just what I enjoy, you know.
Let
But
me guess. Let me guess. I'm gonna say 1968.
oh, very close, very
Ah,
close, very close. I was gonna go for you know what? That is a great year actually. I'm a '60s kid at heart, and anything in the '60s bracket is what I really truly love. But I think '65
oh wow,
would probably be
I was
a,
way
a
off.
good year for me. No, you're only 3 years. I mean, you had so many years to choose from, so you're only 3 years off. That's a pretty good guess, man. But so I see you put something else on.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't. Yeah, I don't know if I should play it just yet.
Okay,
These are like my drinking, like my when I was into like heavily drinking. These are pretty much like my drunk records. Like when I'm like past my limit. So they're kind of scuffy and they're grease prints on them and stuff. But why I'm sharing them with you today, they just they really hit me.
okay.
These songs just really hit me.
Well,
Um,
definitely quite
but
different from what you were playing when you came on the show last
yeah,
time.
yeah. I mean, I love all genres of music. I'm obsessed with it. I want to know who influenced who and who were they influenced by and how far it goes back. And I'm definitely a student, and I love studying about all the different type of music that's out there. I do my best. It's hard to stay current. There's so many artists that are killing it nowadays. So many that I can't keep up with them. You know?
Yeah, yeah. And that's another beautiful thing about music is it's ever growing and it is impossible to know it all. You know, I think I called my YouTube page "Can't See It All," and if it was a music station, it'd be "Can't Hear It All." You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
There you
Because
yeah.
go.
there's
Well,
just too much in the world.
there's like that. I think it's a freak beat. There's like a saying that they have on their wall, like a little framed quote, and it's I'm gonna get it wrong, but it's like you can't hear it all, you can't know it all, and you can't remember it all. Like
Yeah.
It's
like
it's so true,
like
man.
there's so many like just music I even have like on CD that's burned that I love that I don't even remember what's on that CD now. Like
Mm.
but there's just so much music that I have to have that. I have to have that.
Yeah, that's so true, man. It's so true.
So you caught the vinyl bug where you go out and buy all these records and you don't have enough time to
Oh,
play them, right?
oh yeah. I
You just
still
have
have
stacks of records you haven't
I
played.
still have stacks of records that I haven't played that they're
They-
still in the paper bags. I'm like, when am I gonna get around to it?
Yeah, we're all
You know?
guilty of that. We are definitely. I
People ask
mean,
me if I listen to groups that came out this year. I'm like, man, I'm still trying to hear groups I haven't heard from the years we mentioned,
yeah,
and
yeah, you're
music that
right.
I haven't even discovered yet.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
That's
And
the
there,
beauty of it.
I think there's so much music that has been overlooked. You know, when you think about the artists, the small time artists that went into the studios to
Yep.
these big major studios that
Yep.
were just trampled and drowned it out by the popular artists, never had a chance to
Exactly.
really make it. Like nobody wanted to put their money on them because they had
Yeah.
one hit single. You know, and then to discover that now,
Mm,
and I don't know about you guys, but I
right.
crave
That's me.
that. You know, it's like, man, I wish
Yeah.
I can hear the rest of their stuff. You know what I mean? And or do they even have more stuff? You know, who owns these tapes? You know, who's got the reels? Who's got the
Right. How many more albums do they
why
have?
aren't they out? You
Yeah.
know, it always breaks my heart when I hear stories of uh, old buildings with these reels in there that are deteriorated, or buildings that have burned
Oh
down, or
man.
studios that have burned down with
Right.
all these
Right.
old tapes that nobody's ever heard. And it's like, wow, you know,
Man.
somebody's blood, sweat, and tears, heart and soul, they never had a chance to touch the world, you know, and it's a sad thing.
Yeah, yeah. And 45s in general, a lot of the stuff that we spin, the Sweet Soul stuff, that was their one dream. That was their one shot. That's the one record they cut.
Yeah,
And so always, it's kind of romantic when I say it like this, but I feel like we're keeping their dreams alive.
well,
That
that's
that
very
that
Yeah.
one,
true.
Yes.
It's very true.
that one dream.
It's very
You
true.
You
guys
know.
bring out a good point. That's the purpose of shows like this is where there's music that people may never have heard.
Yes.
It's undiscovered, but you're sharing it with them again, resharing it. I've also actually heard stories of men or groups that made songs like records that they don't even have a copy of, and someone shared it on YouTube or somewhere, and they're like, "Wow, that's I'm part of that record. I don't even have a
Wow.
copy of it."
Yes.
So by you guys doing this stuff and resharing it, it's still living.
Yes.
It's being heard all over again. So yeah, I just thank you guys for that, man. That's an awesome thing to hear what you're doing, Drew, with the music, and let's just keep it going, man. What do you got
Yeah,
over here on
yeah.
the turntable right now?
This is a Big Star. They're really, really, really beautiful, beautiful group. Um, I don't know a whole lot. I'm not gonna front here, but I know Alex Chilton. He was from the Box Tops.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, box tops.
The
Yeah.
letter. This is his later stuff. He even has records in the '80s. He's really he was really, I believe he was really influential on a lot of artists.
Okay.
Just so many. This is one of my drunk records.
Oh.
It's just like 3 in the morning.
I think we all have
You know,
those.
I don't why I'm showcasing them. I don't know.
That's all right, man. I'm
Um,
glad you are. I really am. Like you were saying, Frank, what we want to aim for here at Bridge City is to play stuff that people's never really heard. And if they have heard it, then they're the type of people that we want to hang out with, that we want to get to know, because we know that their ear is definitely out there, and we want to learn from these people as well. Um, you know, we don't know it all, and we never will. Um, but yeah, I love that you're bringing this stuff, man.
Yeah, let's go ahead and hear that, man.
I
That's
think it's synced up. I don't know. I'm
That's all
sorry.
right, man.
awesome.
Let me be a one line. Did you like a true heart? Take the time
Kind of
to
folky.
show your mind, and I'll be
In a sense.
in the dark. While you sleep, you'll see me then. Clouds race across the sky. Close your eyes and don't ask why, and I'll be blue in your eyes. Morning comes and sleeping's done. Birds sing outside. If demons come while you're under, I'll be blue in the sky.
Wow.
Let me be your one light. And did you like a true heart? Take the time to show your mind, and I'll be blue in the dark.
Those are some heavy lyrics, man.
Well, I mean, when it's 3 a.m., you gotta get heavy, right?
That's right. What year is this from?
Wow.
It says 78 on the record,
78.
so might have been a little bit earlier, maybe 77.
Okay.
I could envision myself in Ireland, running through a field, or just laying in the wheat field or something like that. I don't know if there's wheat fields in Ireland, but
Okay. See, I'm
but
the type
that's
of guy
the
I
vibe,
just,
man.
I'll just play that when I'm drinking coffee in the morning. He
Okay.
says 3 a.m. I say when I get up,
But
put a record on. I'm trying to get some breakfast while I'm making coffee, and I'm like, hold
Wow.
on, let me play that one again.
that record's gonna make me want to go back to sleep, though.
No, not me,
Oh,
not me,
man.
not me, not me.
Oh,
See, if you
man.
jumped in my car, you'd be surprised at the music I'm playing in my car.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
usually classical music or something like that with no lyrics.
Yeah,
I'm stuck on music with no lyrics
But
or
yeah.
stuff that sounds real soft like that.
Big up to Alex Chilton. They're still putting out a lot of unreleased tracks of his and outtakes and
Oh, great.
demos, so you can always look for his music.
So he's still alive.
No, he passed away maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I
Okay.
think. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. But definitely check out Big Star and Alex Chilton's work.
Big Star. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is one subgenre that you think doesn't get the attention it deserves?
That is a great question. For me, it's gonna be power pop.
Power pop.
Yeah,
Huh?
which I guess there's subgenres of that.
And what do you consider power pop?
Oh,
Like, are there some
gosh.
artists that you can tell us?
Big Star is actually considered power pop. Maybe not that song,
Okay.
but they're definitely, as far as early common groups, maybe Badfinger, that kind of
Okay.
stuff.
Really, they're considered. They're
Raspberries,
considered.
like kind of the ones around with it, I guess, or
Yeah.
the beginning of it, I guess, somewhat. I think the Who actually coined the phrase power pop, but
Okay.
I believe it was the Who that made up that name. But there's just endless, similar with the Sweet Soul groups that did 145.
Okay.
I just feel that there's something true and real about it. Sometimes they're not the best musicians, and maybe the lyrics are a little sappy, but it hits me. It hits me. A little cheesy is okay. If it's flavored right. Yeah, definitely power pop's underrated. There needs to be more.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question, man. Some people might want to know. So this is a little bit off the subject, but still on you. So what was your involvement with the boards?
Oh, that's totally unrelated, but I just did some freelance work for Chocolate Skateboards. Yeah, my
That's right.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
right. I was
yeah.
wondering when you said with the boards, I was like, were you on the board of education or?
Yeah, mixing boards. I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
Or yeah,
you
mixing
know,
board. Were you an
yeah, I was
engineer
like,
that I
oh
didn't
man,
know
this is a
about?
trick
Or?
question.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true. That's true. So you did
Um,
have some of your collage art on
yeah,
Skateboards.
involved with.
yeah,
That's right.
So I was
Wow.
looking him up, and I seen a YouTube video with him there showing his
Oh,
artwork
right,
on
right,
skateboards. I was
Yes.
right.
like, wow.
Yeah,
Which was
yeah.
well done. I really liked that
Oh,
video.
yeah.
Who
That
did
was
that video?
Chocolate. They
Okay.
have a
They sent someone to your home.
yeah.
Chocolate's skateboard company, right?
Right. Yeah, they're part of Girl Skateboards.
Okay.
Okay.
And how many boards did you have with them? It was a series, I assume.
Yeah, 8 boards.
Eight boards. Wow,
Eight
what an honor,
designs.
man.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
an
Yeah,
honor.
definitely.
It was a game changer. Like it definitely got me out there.
Wow.
Like much respect to Chocolate Skateboards and
Wow.
Carlos and the whole art dump.
We got to get Carlos out here, man. I would love to
Definitely.
have him come
Oh
out and do a
gosh.
set. I know he plays a nice variety of music. When I've heard him play, he's kind of all over the
Oh
board.
man, I can't stump him. I try to bring up the most obscure, and he already he knows way more
I love
than
it.
about it than I
Wow.
do
I love it.
all
And
the time.
he's such a good supporter.
Research. Yeah, doing his research there, huh?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question, Drew. What kind of shoes were you wearing when you were in middle school, junior high school?
Yes.
Oh.
That's a good question.
Oh gosh.
Trying to just see where he was at with his style. What kind of shoes was Drew rocking?
Oh gosh, I was into like I've always been into Vans since day. Can I go back a little bit? I was
Yeah.
always into Vans, like
That's right.
super. I still am. That's all I wear. My even when they had them back in the day, you could do customs and
Wow, I didn't know that back in
yeah,
the day.
yeah.
Okay.
I guess you could take any kind of fabric and they would make them for you. But anyways, my
Okay.
favorite ice cream was mint chocolate chip.
Oh yeah. The
And
green.
so
Yeah.
so I was like 4 years old, maybe 3, and my parents hooked me up with some mint green and chocolate Vans.
Sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, but middle school, gosh, I don't know what was.
You said Vans, right? I mean,
I think I had some half cabs and I had the high tops. I don't. I guess they call them skate highs now.
so what year was this?
That was like middle school was 1990, 91,
Okay.
1991.
Because I can see you rocking
Yeah.
Vans right now, right?
Yeah, all day long.
You got
I
the
love 'em.
cats on there.
I still
and
make
the-
customs.
That's awesome.
Obsessed.
And that rings a bell because I remember their logo was, man, I need Vans. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah, all yeah.
So when I was in 6th grade, I was rocking the shirts with the Vans on
Yeah.
there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
OP
The ones that said
shorts.
Yeah.
rad on the
Oh,
bottom.
oh,
Man.
the-
Remember
oh,
those?
yeah, yeah.
And actually, I remember the store in Torrance. That was like one of
Yeah.
the first Vans still there in
Still
Torrance
there.
on
Yeah.
Torrance Boulevard.
It's a Inglewood Avenue. Or no, not Inglewood Avenue. And
It's Torrance Boulevard off of
Crenshaw.
Crenshaw. Yeah,
Wow.
the Van store. That's where you had to go. You couldn't
Yeah.
go to the mall to buy Vans back then. It's like an independent type store back then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I still rock Vans too. I got about 8 boxes right there, right? So I'm still buying Vans,
Yeah,
man. I
got
like
like
them.
20, 25, 30 pairs.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can't wear
Wow.
Vans in the cold. That's my only problem with them. You got to wear double socks. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
my only problem with Vans.
Wow.
But I love Vans
Yeah.
too. The colors, man. and-
Yeah, you gotta check out Pillow Heat on Instagram. He's like crazy collector, crazy
Wow.
like next level.
Who's that? Pillow Heat?
I believe it's Pillow Heat.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Check him out. He found Vans clown shoes.
Oh, okay.
like big giant. Yeah, he
Wow.
Oh,
finds.
yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
He's that guy.
Wow, that's good, man. That's good. Well, we only have a few more minutes here on this station.
Okay.
Is there anything that you'd like to say in
Um,
particular, or any shout outs that you'd like to give to?
How much
to-
time I got?
You got about 3 minutes.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Just this. Thanks for listening to my little story. If I could wrap it up, I grew up, as a b-boy, listening to Fat Boys, Houdini, Curse Blow, Crush Groove. I was definitely a pop locker, West Coast, 3rd grade, battling 6th graders, and then I got into punk rock, skateboarding. So all the videos, that kind of music, I definitely got into that scene. And then later on, I got back into hip hop again
Yeah.
from skateboarding.
I've had
Like-
the honor to rhyme with you, man. I
Oh,
enjoy.
yeah.
I mean, you really influenced me.
Oh, man.
'Cause, I used to rhyme slow back then, and when I met you, and you came out with that hyper rap, and I used to be like, damn, I want to rap like that. You know what I mean?
Well,
So,
that's all Tongue Twister. That's
that's
like one
beauty.
of my favorite rappers is Twister.
Yeah.
I love his style.
Yeah,
I love his lyrics.
man. Good.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to aspiring DJs today?
Well, I'm not a DJ. First off, I don't. I'm not a disc jockey. I don't. Right. I'm just not a DJ. I just spin records. I guess I'm considered a spinner.
What about to aspiring collectors and record
know,
collectors?
Have patience. It's not all about the. It's not always about the $600, $700, $800 records. And I was taught that. There's a lot of beautiful records for 20 and under. But have patience. Eventually the records will come to you if it's meant to be. Be humble. My advice is that this is a place where check your ego at the front door.
Right.
You ain't bigger badder than nobody. You know what I mean? Just do it with love, do it with your heart, and only do it for love. If you're doing it for other reasons, if you're trying to make money off of this, it's not gonna happen. There's enough of those already. So
Yes,
that's
great advice. Great advice. Frank, you got any last questions before we
Yeah.
say goodbye to our
Yeah,
people?
definitely. One question, and I believe everybody will want to know this. You being a music lover, I don't want to call you a record collector, but how many records does Drew have in his collection? If you were to take a guess, I don't know if you sat there and counted them, but
I don't know, crate after crate, box after box, running out of places. I remember I dumped off records at your pad because I didn't have any more room in
plenty
my
of
pad.
times,
Yeah,
plenty of times.
thousands and thousands. Like
Yeah,
no joke, no fronting. I got thousands of LPs.
I've been to your house before,
yeah.
so
He's
I
got
can, I can
records in the
vouch for that,
kitchen, the
man.
bathroom, the
they're
hallway.
definitely in the bathroom. They're everywhere.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm working on it though.
That's great, man. Well, hey, man, I really thank you for coming out, Drew.
I appreciate the opportunity, guys.
I thank you for being a good friend to me, and I'm sure Frank feels the same way. And man, I just want you to keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep being an inspiration, and I wish you the best of luck in all your endeavors in life.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, we're going to give you a shout out again. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you. The music you shared is beautiful. It gives me an opportunity now to go back and research these groups out and see what I've been missing. You want to give us your contact information?
Drew Collage on Instagram and South Bay Soul Collectors on Instagram.
Make sure you follow them, look them up, and we just thank everyone for tuning in again to Bridge City Radio. I'm Frank.
And I'm Victor Bustillos.
We'll see you on the next one. Thanks again, everybody.
Right.
What do you think?